Yeah, yeah. And no one like me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Congratulations, you made it. Welcome to the Crusader. It's been a long time coming, yo. Yeah. But I'm here now. So what you wanna do? How many dudes you really know can flow like this, like this, like this? Let's do it. How many dudes you know roll like this? How many dudes you know flow like this? Not many, infinity. Not many, infinity. How many dudes you know got the skills to go and rock a show like this? I don't know anybody. Check.
All right, that is Strive. If you're from New Zealand or Australia, you probably know that song. And the reason why we started with a bit of Scribe of how many dudes you know roll like this, of course, is because it is time for me to show you who I'm going to be playing in the Creator Chaos Championship Ultimate Pit Fight. Of course, it is me, Iain from Radio Reflex. And without further ado, the rolling, the picture at the front of the video. I know, you know who it's gonna be. It is Kayo. That's right. I have been rocking Kayo since he came out. In between playing with my Reiner as well. But that brute life is what I am all about. And I told the guys that if we were going to do an ultimate pit fight and we're going to choose different classes each, I had to go brute. I had to rep brute. So, Kayo is who I have decided is going to be the man to take me into this event. It is going to be super exciting. If you don't know what I am talking about, it is the Creator Chaos Championship. CCC, that's what it is. It is myself, Iain from Radio Reflex, taking on DM Armada, taking on Red Zone Rogue, taking on Tabletop TCG, taking on Deck Edge. It is an all-out brawl ultimate pit fight indeed. And we thought, you know what? It would be too simple just to do a pit fight. Why not let's make it a little bit more enjoyable, a little bit higher stakes, a little bit more random. I am a man that loves me some random formats, so we decided we are doing Singleton, or as I like to call it, Highlander, because there can be only one. For those of you who don't know, we are running Blitz format, Highlander / Singleton. What it means is you can only have one of any card in your deck. So this is where we are, and this is my deck tech for the upcoming event. Of course, it is pretty exciting because, yeah, it's just going to be a lot of fun getting the creators together and stuff like that. Now, the one thing I have noticed, the other creators have done some deck techs and put some stuff out there. Of course, some of them have just put in one set of equipment. That is actually not the case. When you go into pit fight, it is like a blitz event. You can have up to 11 pieces of equipment, and the reason for this is you can only initially attack the person to your left and right. So you may want to change your equipment up depending on who you're sitting next to. So with that in mind, let me run through my equipment pretty quickly, just so you get a feel for where my head's at with what we're going to be bringing in with Kayo. So we're going to start with, of course, Arc Knight Skullcap, just solid 2 defense, especially because I start on lower life than any of the other players. Of course, we know Red Zone Rogue is playing Azalea at 20. We know DM Amara is playing Cavdeen at 20, although, you know, he is going to move his life points around a bit. We know that Deck Edge is playing Runeblade at 20, and of course, Tabletop TCG is bringing in Shiana, the most expensive deck in the format. Again, starting at 20 though. So here we are gonna get full value out of this right from turn 1 and moving forward. However, if we are paired up against either on the left or the right, the Runeblade, we have the option to move into the Nullrune Hood. Of course, Arcane Barrier 1, super important against the Runeblade player, so that definitely is an option of what we can wear on our head. Chest piece, Bark Bone Strapping, so good in Blitz format, also in UPF, because it does have the 1 defense with Battle Worn, so unlike the Tunic, you can defend with it and you can still have it around. It is going to take some dice rolling, but again, that is what this deck's all about. So as an instant, I can destroy the Bark Bone, roll a d6, and get that roll halved and get that many resources. So I can use that to generate resources on my turn, but it is an instant, so I can use it defensively against the Runeblade player to help help with Arcane Barrier and other situations that may come up in the game. Of course, if you are playing Kayo, you are rolling dice. If you are rolling dice, you are playing Gambler's Gloves. As you can tell by the playmat, of course we are playing Gambler's Gloves in a KO deck. It is our absolute first pick. No, you know, everyone should know that. If a KO is on the board, there is going to be Gambler's Gloves. Scadskin Levers, again, you're playing Brute, you're playing Scadskin Levers, unless of course you've got a pesky wizard on the field. This is just a really good, again, more dice rolling, but 2 Battle Worn is the other big part of the Scadskin Levers. So nice, so important in this game. Now, to weapons. You may wonder what I am going to play. We have decided that because we were playing Singleton, we did make the ruling that included weapons. So, hence, I could play Mandible Claws, but if I did, I'd only be getting 1 Mandible Claw. So, with that in mind, we're going to find them in the club. Romping Club is going to be KO's weapon of choice going into this matchup. Again, this is the first time the format's been played. We are making it up as we go along, so that rule may change going forward, that Singleton is only for your deck, but we'll see. This is a test run, it's what it's all about, and we'll see. Now, moving into a big part of any Brute deck, the attacks. Again, as we said, Singleton, you can only have 1 of any card, but you can have it in the full color spectrum. So I am running Wreck-It Rog in blue, yellow, and of course in red. Of course, for blue, it's coming in for 6. For yellow, it's coming in for 7. And for red, it's coming in for 8. That is very important, the 8, because of course, if you don't know what KO does, I should have probably gone over this at the beginning. KO, if you play an attack with a 6 or higher, you roll a d6. On a roll of a 1 and 4, the base value is halved, rounded down. On a roll of a 5 or 6, the base attack is doubled. So that means for Red Wreck-It Romp, which is coming in for 8 base attack, it is going to either be a 4 on a roll of a 1 over 4 or a 16 on a roll of a 5 or 6. So hence, very impressive. But very important that 8, because again, the yellow Wreck-It Romp is coming in for 7, but if that is, if you whiff on the roll, that is only going to be coming in for 3 because it is half rounded down. So important to remember that when you are rolling KO's attacks. Next up, we have got Predatory Assault. It is a red 6 attack brute card that if you have discarded another 6 attack card this turn, it will gain Dominate. Again, if you roll it, it becomes a 12. It will be a 12 with Dominate if you've discarded a card, which is very good. We have a few ways to discard cards. We have a few ways to get extra turns. Obviously, Scabskin Leathers are the main ones, so hopefully we will be throwing this down as the second attack of the turn to make sure we can get Dominate out of it. Then we move on to probably the best solo attack Brute has in any format. It is Red Pack Hunt. It comes in for 6. It has built-in Intimidate, so it's going to be coming in for 3 or 12 with an Intimidate. Just super solid. If you're a Brute player, you should be playing it. Again, all the Brute attack action cards are blocking for 3 as well, which is important in UPF. Then we have Savage Feast. Very cool Brute card. This is what we were talking about with if you have rolled twice with Scabskin Levers and you got 2 actions, not rolled twice, but rolled and got 2 actions, I should say. This is a great lead out card because if you discard a 6 cost, you will get to draw you get to draw a card, which basically replaces the card you've discarded and helps pay for the follow-up attack. And it is, again, coming in for 3 or 12, depending on Kayo's ability. Then, much like Savage Feast, we have Breakneck Battery. Very cool. Red, 6 attack. You randomly discard. If it's a 6 cost, you get Go again. So another good way to hopefully bring in that Predatory Assault for that dominated attack turn, or just swinging with the club. And of course, if you've discarded a card, the club gets +1 for the turn. So if you get that second attack after a Breakneck Battery, you can always swing the club for 5. Then Massacre, one of my absolute favourite cards from Crucible. It is so good. Of course, we're not playing right now, we're playing Kayo, so we don't normally get the Intimidate if we discard a card. However, if this card is discarded to pay the cost of an attack card, we will get 1 Intimidate. Plus, if we play this as the second attack of a turn and we've already discarded a 6 cost card, it gets +2 and Intimidate, which makes it a massive... it means it's going to come in for either 5 or 14, depending on what your roll is, which is massive. Because again, Kayo's ability only looks at the base, with either doubles or halves the base. So the +2 that you get off Massacre will be added no matter if you hit with the dice roll or if you don't. Next up, Riled Up, just another great brute attack. It's also a yellow, so pitches for weapon, blocks for 3, and if we've discarded 6 attack this turn, it gets +1. So again, like some of the other cards, if you halve it, it will be 3, but if you've discarded a 6, it'll be +1, so it'll be swinging for 4 even if you whiff, which is nice and solid. Then we have Yellow Smash Instinct, again coming in for 6, has built-in Intimidate, just really good. We have next up Barraging Bighorn, which is a great card in KO because this is actually one of the cards that you don't mind missing on the dice roll, because what Barraging Bighorn says is, as an additional cost to play Barraging Bighorn, discard a random card. While Barraging Bighorn is defended by less than 2 non-equipment cards, it has Go again. So in fact, this is actually a card that you don't mind whiffing on and going down to 3, because if you go down to 3, they now have to waste 2 cards to block a 3 cost attack or give you Go again. So that is a super solid advantage to playing this in a KO deck, which is super fun. Next up, we have our next 2 cards are not 6 attack cards. They are just blue brute cards. So they're going to pitch for blue, defend for 3, but also they both have built-in Intimidate. That of course is Blue Smash Instinct and Blue Pack Hunt. Just really good for, you know, if you just need to get an attack out, but also just really good to pitch for blue and block for 3 in your turn. We now get into the generics. Of course, if you're playing any generics, you're playing E-Strike and Lightning Strike. It is just so good. Why wouldn't you play it? And because KO only looks at the base attack, if you give it +2 and it comes in for 7, you don't have to roll the dice. It's just going to be coming in for 7. So that is super solid. Of course, the other must-have generic is Command and Conquer, and a Command and Conquer for 12 is insane. But also a Command and Conquer for 3, much like the Barraging Bighorn, gives people just that annoying thing that if they've got a handful of defense reactions, they can't defend it, or if they have something in their arsenal that they want to keep, they have to waste a card defending against it one way or another. And you'll see, we'll probably combine this with when we get into the actions. We'll probably combine this with one or 2 of the other cards in the actions, just to make it a little bit more spicy and a little bit more harder for the opponent to decide what to do to defend against it. Up next, Drone of Brutality, super solid in a KO deck, super solid in an Ultimate Pit Fight deck, because it goes to the bottom of your deck. It helps you not fatigue out. Plus, of course, it is a 6 attack, so with KO, you will be rolling that dice and hoping it's a 12, and if not, you'll get a chance to try again later in the game. Super good. Now we're into just the generics, which is generic Brutal Assault. a lot of people think this is a brute card because it has brute people on it. Interesting fun fact about this card. Originally, this was in the Ira demo deck, so we actually got spoiled Runeblade in Ira demo before Welcome to Wraith was ever came out, because obviously you can see there attacking the purple is he's attacking a Runeblade character, and we didn't know. It was in front of our eyes the whole time, and none of us knew. This is what I love about LSS. There's lots of Easter eggs hidden throughout the cards in this game, and they're super cool. This again just swings for 6, blocks for 3, so it might swing for 12, but generally I'm not unhappy just to use this to block for 3. Super handy. Same sort of idea with this, a Raging Onslaught, 6 attack, blocks for 3, but also this is a yellow pitch, so we can pitch it for the weapon as well. Super convenient. Now here is a little bit of spice. Again, as I said, because we start with lower life, if this card shows up in our opening hand, it is a godsend. It is Wounded Bull. This is a very interesting card. Again, it says when you play Wounded Bull, if you have less life than your opponent, which means as long as I have less life than any other opponent on the field, this gets +1. So of course it is a 6 base attack. So if you whiff, it will still be a 4, or if you double it, it will be a 13. Again, the red comes in for 7, but again, if you whiff with that, it's still only going to come in for 4. So we go with the yellow because it can also be pitched to swing the club, which is important. Then here is another spice card. I see that the captain player Stephen over at DM Armada has caught onto this one, but again, this is super spicy in Kayo. Cantaverous Contraband, so good. It is a 6 attack, so if it doubles, it's going to be coming in for 12, and it has an on-hit effect that if it hits, you may put a non-attack action from your graveyard on top of your deck, which is super important. Super important anyway, but in Singleton Highlander format, it is super important. So I'm hoping that I double this up whenever I throw it, coming in for 12, at least getting something back with it, which will be super handy as we go on. Next up is my favorite card, and a lot of people think this is a trash card. I am running an alternate art version of it because if you're new to the channel and you don't know anything about Radio Reflex, we are huge wrestling fans, so this is my alternate art favorite card from Welcome to Wraith. It is Demolition Crew. There we are, look at that. Demolition Crew there, Axe Smash, Mr. Fuji, the tag belts. This is of course an alt art. This isn't an official alt art. This is one that we have made up for Radio Reflex, but super fun. If you don't know what Demolition Crew does, as an additional cost to play Demolition Crew, reveal a card from your hand with a cost of 2. All our attacks have a cost of 2, except for E-Strike and I think Savage Feast. And if it's 2 or greater, it has Dominate. So you double up on this, you are coming in for 12 with Dominate. This has won me so many games with KO. This is a clutch card, so fun, and of course, who doesn't love Axe and Smash and Mr. Fuji? We'll be dropping the Demolition Crew on some guys in UPF. Now into our next step of the deck. It is what I call my attack buff stage non-attack action cards. Of course, if you're playing Brute, Bloodrush Bellows is such a great card. It says, as an additional cost to play Bloodrush Bellows, discard a random card. Your brute attacks gain +2 this turn. Key point, your brute attacks, so that if you attack multiple times with brute attacks, that can be attack action cards or the weapon, all of them get +2, which is again great. Of course, if you whiff on a 3, it will still be coming in for 5, or if you double up, it will be coming in for a 14, which is amazing. And if discarded a 6 or more card, draw 2 cards, and Bloodrush Bellow gains go again. So again, very important, and also a key card that I'll be looking to get back from Contraband if it is in the graveyard and Contraband hits, because multiple Bloodrush Bellow turns in this sort of format can be insane. Of course, as we said, with the Singleton format, the next 3 cards are a full cycle of one of the best cards in Brute. It is, of course, Barraging Beatdown. I don't really need to tell what this does if you've played against Brute. Basically, you make your opponent have to defend with two non-equipment cards, or you get attack bonuses, which of course super good. If you whiff with your dice rolls, it's going to make the decision making harder for them, and you should still get a two-card block out of them most turns that you play them. And of course, those cards have Intimidate, which makes the blocking process even harder. Now, the next card, it is not a full cycle, but we are playing the red and blue. It is Come to Fight. This is, of course, one of the cards I was talking about to use with Command and Conquer. It is the next attack action you play this turn gains +1 on the blue or +3 on the red. So this is going to help you if you miss with the dice. You're still going to be hopefully getting two cards, and especially on a CNC, it makes them have to overblock if they want to keep their arsenal cards. So super important, but more so important in Ultimate Pit Fight. This defends for 3, which is a super important part of Ultimate Pit Fight. A lot of my adversaries are playing Razor Reflexes and Pummels and stuff like that, which all have 2 defense. So if you get caught with a handful of 2s, it can be a bad day at the office. So the more 3 defense cards you can have in your deck, the better. Next up, we are into the defense reactions. We have got Fateful Scene. We have got Sink Below. Sink Below is super important with Brute because you can use the ability to help set up your hand to make sure that you're discarding a 6 on the turn you want to be discarding a 6. We have Springboard Somersault, which is great. If it's in your arsenal, it's going to come out and defend for 4. Otherwise, you can pitch it for yellow, which swings your weapon, or you can block from your hand for 2 as a defense reaction, which, again, with it, Razor Reflexes and Pummels being around in this matchup, it will be super important. The following is a one-off. This card, well, they're all one-offs, but this I'm not running a cycle is what I'm saying. Blue Unmovable. Now this is going to be, whether I play this card or not will solely depend on what is left or right of me, what I'm expecting. If I'm next to the Azalea player, definitely going into the arsenal to stop dominate like a dominated arrow. Same with the Rumta Blade. If they're going for an OTK kill, if I can set this up before they go off, that's gonna help me a lot. Otherwise, this is just a pitch for blue, which is still really good in the deck. So, and again, defense reactions in this game, super important. You never know how much you're going to have to block because you can be attacked from your left and right. So, yes, super important. Talking about defense reactions, the best Brute defense reaction, the only defense reaction that is a Brute soul card, is Reckless Swing. Again, another reason why we're running so many 6-cost attacks. This, of course, you randomly discard a card. If it is a 6, you do 2 damage to your opponent, which can win you a game. It's very good, and of course it blocks for 4, which is super solid in UPF. Next up, pseudo defense card, Bloodrush Bellows, but again it's yellow. It pitches for your weapon. If the OTK Rune Blade's going off, it's pretty good. Or for a Hail Mary defense, you can just roll a dice and try and stop some damage coming through. Super good. Then we are into an important part of Ultimate Pit Fight. It is life gain. I am running both red and yellow sigil. Yellow sigil, if you get it early, you're just going to pitch it for to pay for an attack or to swing the weapon. Red, of course, is going to get you 3 life back, which is good at any time. But usually I will look to hopefully pitch the yellow early, so it comes back around late game to get getting 2 extra life late game can be super important on whether you live or die. Next card, if you watch Red Rose Zone Rogue's deck tech, I will link all the other deck techs in the description below. He talked about the shenanigans with this card. Remembrance, of course, Gregorian Tomb and Remembrance is very funny. If you play Gregorian Tomb, your opponent then later tries to get a double draw off his Gregorian. Easy for me to tome. I'm just going to call it tome because it's late. And he tries to get at the extra draw. You can trigger Remembrance because it is an instant. Grab your tome back negate him drawing extra cards, and you have Tome back in your deck to hopefully you will get the bonus extra cards later in the game. Very funny. Very trolling move, but I'm hoping we see it happen on the day. Again, more life gain in Tome of Fendel. Just, life gain's important. You have Scabskin Levers that you can hopefully roll 2-action turn where you play Tome, draw up some cards, and then come in for a big hit afterwards. Energy Potion, it's pretty much self-explanatory. Pitches for blue. It's really good at the end of a Scabskin's turn if you don't have anything to do, like if you don't have enough to pay for 2 attacks, or you don't have the extra discard to get a second attack off. You can just attack and then put out Energy Potion, and it's always good on the field. Good to pitch for blue. Yeah, super solid. Truth be told, this card I may change on the Dame to a Crazy Brew if I'm feeling especially janky and especially lucky with my dice rolls. So this is card subject to change, is what we'll say here. Then the next card is the card that this format was invented for, because you can't play it in any other format. It is Go Bananas! I love this card. It is so cool, and it is one of the reasons why it was decided that any card can be played in Ultimate Pitfight. It reads as such: name an action card. So that's not so that's an action card. So you can't name a reaction or an instant or anything. But name an action card. Open and reveal a booster pack of Flesh and Blood. Put all cards of the chosen name into your hand. If the booster pack does not contain that card of the chosen name, you may repeat this process. Interesting point, and the very poignant point of this is that where it says put all cards with the chosen name. So if you choose a card and you get the regular version and the foil version of it, you can put it in your hand. If you choose a card that has a cycle and you get the red version and the blue version, you can put it in your hand. Very cool. Also, the other key point about this is because it's not in the deck building phase, you can call any card from any faction. So this is the way, like if I decided I wanted to play Blessing of Deliverance from the Guardian class, I could do that. It's crazy. It's the only way other than Shiana, which we do have a Shiana, tabletop TCG is playing Shiana, but this is the only way to get off-class cards into your deck, which is super fun. I will be going to my local LGS tonight, and I will be purchasing some boosters to obviously call with Go Bananas. What I call will depend on what boosters I can get hold of. Now the next card, this is the last card of my deck. Now, full disclosure, we talked about the Gregorian Tome earlier. Currently, at time of filming, I don't know where my tome is. I know it's in a deck. I just need to find the deck box that it's in. So, this is a filler card at the moment. It might be switched out for tome if I can find my tome before we go live. But this is a little bit of a... To be fair, I'm just one of my wrestling idols is Eddie Guerrero, and one of his keys to winning was lie, cheat, and steal. So this feels a little bit cheating because I do know that there is a Cavdane player. So I have currently at this time until I find a Gregorian Tome, put in a cash-in into my deck with the hopes that with the Cavdane shenanigans going on, that I might get some copper tokens and I can use them to cash in late game and hopefully get an advantage. So that is the deck as it stands. Now for the viewers out there, we are going to be streaming this, fingers crossed, with technology and internet, but it is going to be 8th of February Eastern Standard, I think it's 9 p.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8th of February in the States, which is the 9th of February here in New Zealand at about 2 or 3 o'clock, depending on which when we start. But we, of course, we will link it up on the fan page when it's about to go live, so everyone can join in and come and cheer on the fans. Also, if you've got to the end of this, I'm gonna, drop a little bit of knowledge that some people know and some people don't. I used to work for Legend Story Studios. I was made redundant during the pandemic because my role at Legend Story Studios was a community manager, so it was directly related to people being able to play in person, which of course the pandemic put pay to. But while I was working for LSS, I did help create Ultimate Pit Fight. I was one of the developers on this format. No, obviously I've never had any development with cards or anything, but I was one of the people who helped develop and come up with this format. However, that does not necessarily mean I have an advantage. It just means I have played the format a lot. I love Ultimate Pit Fight. This was why I reached out to this crowd of creators to get it going. I also love Highlander and other games that I've played, so this should be a lot of fun. So, that is full disclosure. I have played a lot. I did help create the game, but I do not think it's going to be an advantage for me, especially being the sole Kiwi in a field of Americans. I feel like I might get ganged up on a little bit. So what I'm going to need is all of you in the chat to, when it goes live, I'm going to need the support from the world, from the crowd. Come cheer me on. If you're a Kiwi or an Aussie, get that Anzac spirit going. If you're a fan of the brute life, I am your champion going into this. Or if you just like to root for the underdog, all support will be gladly accepted. So we will see you on the 8th or 9th of February, depending on where you are in the world. This is going to be a lot of fun. I am a big component of fun formats. I love anything to do with Flesh and Blood, and I love having fun. I love getting around a table and politicking as well as playing. It's going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully I can pull off a win. But until we see you then, bye from me, and as always, wash your damn hands.